safety plans to be approved prior to coming to the board would be a signature from a law enforcement person. And in some cases, some schools, the law enforcement person has actually walked the campus and given suggestions, and others have just read the plan and signed the plan.
But this year we asked, when we had all of our community meetings, we asked them to actually have time to walk the campus with the police officer, with the principal.
And that's what we had happen. It was really helpful because he pointed out a number of things that we incorporated.
So every police department, even Pittsburgh with just one school and Martinez with one school, you know, both agreed and sent over an officer. So I have to say that, you know, every one of our communities unincorporated, the sheriffs came out, you know, so, and then every one of our cities.
So I don't think there'd be a board member who probably wouldn't say, let's put a number 3 with ensure our facilities support and enhance student learning, something about safety.
When we get to 5.2, I'll show you where we're going to have it in.
And so while you're still gaining
explicitly, is it underneath something like 5.2 point?
Well,
what?
If you want to go to 5.2, I'll tell you where most easily inserts.
What were you thinking? I don't know if that came up in your discussion because I wasn't there.
Well, I think number 1.
It's in 5.2.1.
Okay.
So if we go to 5.2, where we shift to facilities, which is where security and safety issues would be, with facility and infrastructure support, designing and constructing our new and modernized facilities regarding supporting the Common Core standards, 21st century learning modalities, technology, and safety standards would be where I would add that in. Because it really goes to when you're designing or you're doing a modernization or you're going through a campus and looking at things, those are all of the elements that are part of the design of the campus. And so I would insert the meeting safety standards in there with 21st century learning modalities and technology and safety standards.
I think I'm hearing here some interest in this concept of school safety, so it is an important one. And I think Brian's point was good in terms of talking about whether there's we do that with Measure C. You know, all schools are going to have this minimum amount, and then here's some additional funds, and you can customize. So whether we have that around safety, that it sounded like what you were saying is all schools have this minimum district expectation, but beyond that, you can actually. I think one of the things I keep hearing from our communities is they like the local school concept that you could be responsive or not. So in my neighborhood school, we might need this additional service, and we'd rather take some funds and put it over here on security cameras, or not use that and put it over on fencing. And whether I have a certain district minimum standard that we can explain to the public, all schools have this level of safety, and then they enhance it beyond that as part of their safety plan and their use of responsiveness to community. That's what I want to myself be able to convey to our public, if I'm representing anything well here.
One thought I had, just when we talk about safety, we talk about Columbine locks and whether everyone should have them. And then we talk about school cultures and some people feel like their doors should be unlocked. I, as a person who's allocating funds, would hate to allocate funds for Columbine locks to a school where they weren't really going to be used. I mean, because their culture said we were going to have our doors open, so they all have, you know, socks or something between the door things. So
Well, I think the idea with the Columbine locks is that you can have it unlocked, but when an emergency occurs, you'd be able to lock it from the inside of the door instead of having to go out to the outside. So I think the idea behind the Columbine lock is that it gives you, you know, it's the next best thing to having every door locked. You know.
But isn't the Columbine lock, isn't it a door locked from the outside?
No. Right now, our standard lock, it just locks from the outside. And so if there is an emergency where you're in a lockdown, the teacher has to open the door, physically go to the outside, lock it, and shut the door. The Columbine lock now puts takes out the cylinder, puts in a new cylinder that has a key lock on both sides. So if you're inside the classroom, you can just lock the door from inside. And that's what the Columbine locks allows you to do.
And is part of Measure C each
Right now, we've gone through and we've done an inventory, and now we're going out. We're putting out an we have the number we need, and so we're putting out an RFP or an RFQ right now that we're hoping to be able to bring to the board by, you know, the second board meeting in March or in April. It just depends on how long it has to hit the street for. And then, you know, the hope is that we can get it, you know, if not all of it completed by the beginning of school next year, a vast majority of it, because we're hearing that there's about a 12 to 16 week lag time in getting Columbine locks because a lot of people this, and they also looked at the quality of the door, and some of our doors are older doors and need to be replaced too. So I think that will be all in the report that Jeff will be bringing forward.
This is a report that's coming forward for us to grapple with, then, because it's gonna be very expensive when we
Looks like it's
take care
about,
of doors and door frames and.
looks like, I think the locks alone, Jeff told me it was like $650, and then the door replacement was probably another, don't quote me, but I think about $500,000. So it was gonna be probably about 1.2 or so forth to do, all of the door replacement in the Columbine locks. Something like that.
Brian,
Yes.
I hear what you say about adding and school safety, under number one, but I'm afraid that some people might read that to say, oh, well, that's only when you're designing and constructing. And that this is such an important and current topic, which is going to remain current, that I almost think that there should be a bit more emphasis put on the infrastructure of existing facilities and ensuring that the facilities are.
Why not just put it in the title of 5.2, ensure that our facilities and infrastructure support enhance student learning and school safety. So it's right there overtly in the title, as opposed to putting it in the sub-bullets.
What you need is sub-bullet,
Well then, yeah,
That-
then we'll,
cause that pushes you into an action plan.
Right. so then we'll look at a sub-bullet. We can do a third sub-bullet.
Hey, you whittled this down, so you can add another one.
And then the last one has to do with, again, how enrollment touches facilities and how we have to review our enrollment trend data as we're looking at our evaluation of our existing sites and prospective use of sites and our district facility plan with regard to having available resources to meet needs. We have kind of a unique situation in Mount Diablo in that although we have large sections of our district that are basically built out to the urban limit line of the area, we have the giant question mark right on the other side of the road here, which is the Naval Weapons Station. And so we've got a potential, possibly at some point, of a significant growth spurt if and when that project can ever get through all of its environmental processes and get off the ground. And then we still have Bay Point and West Pittsburgh, which are still growing. So we take a look at all of that data as it begins to go, and we look at the student production rate of various types of housing as it's proposed, because not every type of housing development produces the same ratio of students per house. And so utilizing all of that data along with our existing facilities to project what our needs will be into the future.
And I don't think, I think the naval weapon is interesting, but I mean, when they were really actually looking at it 2-3 years ago, I haven't heard much about it. We were, they've only incorporated 3 elementaries and a middle school into there. So I don't believe that they thought that the factor of kids coming out of whatever type of development they were putting in there was gonna be so huge that it would be, they didn't even put in the necessity of a new high school. I thought it was supposed to be up to like 30,000 units that were going in the Naval Weapons Station. Was it
I
something
think
like
under
that?
one of the plans it may have been.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, whatever types of units they were putting in, the factor for student loans wasn't that.
Unless they do senior
I
housing,
have a question
we're in some trouble.
about, when new things are built. In other words, near Delta View, they're building a great big apartment building, down the street. And there will probably be a significant number of children there. That's okayed by whoever okays the city or county or whatever. Do they have to give the school district any money to help cover the impact that it's gonna have on the enrollment?
We do receive developer fees, yes. Now, a quarter of the developer fees that we collect currently in West Pittsburgh are dedicated to paying the loan to the Pittsburgh Redevelopment Agency for the construction of Delta View. The other 76%, it's 24 and 76, 76% of what we generate, we continue to have. And so